What is going on, everybody? It is Big L here, and today we're bringing you more draft content. That's right. If you watch the draft recap, you will know exactly what's going on in this draft. It is a dual type draft. I'll go over it really quick again. Each coach drafted two types, and then we made teams based on those types. My types were fairy and ground. Gosh dang, I have something right in my eye. There we go, got it. And we are playing Coach Tyger and his Ever Grande RK9ers. Tyger has a pretty scary team. His types were fire and grass, which, as you can see by the team he has in front of you, he has a sun team, which is really scary. Weather in this kind of a format is very, very scary. We made all the good, quote unquote, good weather setters tier 1 to make it a little harder for teams to draft weather, because we do feel like weather is really, really strong in this kind of a format. That didn't deter a handful of people. We have this guy. Tyger has a sun team. We have a hail team. We have a rain team. I think we have a sand team. We still got all the weather. But as you can see, like I said, he drafted fire and grass. His team consisted of Torkoal, Heatran, Whimsicott, Zarude, Gouging Fire, Mega Houndoom, Arboliva, Chestnut, Venusaur, Tangrowth, and Typhlosion. So, whenever we looked at team preview, the first thing that really stood out to me was no Gouging Fire. I was terrified of Gouging Fire in prep. I was very surprised to see the Heatran. I didn't think it looked that great because, like I said, one of my types is ground. So, bringing a Pokemon that's 4 times weak to ground kind of surprised me, but you'll see when we get into the game. That thing was hard for me to switch into, and I was a little bit surprised to see the Arboliva, but I did prepare for it because that thing can be kind of a headache to deal with. But stay tuned after the battle, because me and Tyger did have a good little talk about the teams, what we kind of saw on each other's teams. So I'm not going to go into my sets too much now, because you will see all my sets in that interview. And so whenever I looked at team preview, I didn't really see anything, like I said, too crazy. I knew going in, my plan was I wanted to try to keep the sun off the field. So I went in, I have a bulky Garchomp with Sandstorm and Stealth Rock. So my idea was, like, if he leads Torkoal, I can lead Garchomp, get my Sand up, and maybe, really negate that sun. So, and that's exactly what I decided to do. I go ahead and he leads Torkoal, I lead the Garchomp, and he gets the Drought. I'm like, okay, a part of me thinks, maybe I do want to just go for damage here. But the other part of me is like, I don't really care if this gets burned. I don't need this Garchomp to really get a whole lot of damage off. That's not this Garchomp's job in this game. The Garchomp's job in this game is to try and get rid of the sun. So I decide I'm just going to go ahead and click the Sandstorm as he goes into the Whimsicott. So we see it takes damage. So now we know if it is Focus Sash, it's broken. And as you see here between turns, he doesn't get any leftovers recovery. So that makes me wonder if he is the Sub-Seed set. I don't think he is, which is really, really good. That set really scared me in prep. It almost made me change my Altaria set altogether. But as you can see, he's likely not the Sub-Seed set, because that set likes to run leftovers. So here between this turn, I was like, okay, I know for a fact that Moonblast, unless he exactly specs, Life Orb doesn't kill me, Pixie Plate doesn't kill me, only Specs kills me. I'm like, if he goes for Leech Seed, that's not really the big deal, because I'm probably going to switch this out on whatever would come in afterwards. And I know I live on Moonblast, so I'm like, I'm going to just stay in and click Poison Jab, because even with the little bit that I have invested in attack, I don't have a whole lot. This thing, if it's Sash, it's broken. And a Poison Jab 100% kills it. He goes for Moonblast. It does right around what I expected it to do. And I go for the Poison Jab, and we just delete the Whimsicott on turn 2. That's a huge threat gone. I prepped around that thing a lot. Because like I said, the Sub-Seed set scared the Jesus out of me. Well, I was wondering what he was going to bring in next. I kind of expected the Zarude to come out here. That thing scared the crap out of me too. Um, and he brings out the Heatran, and Tyger brought this thing in almost immediately after the Whimsicott went down. I was like, okay, well, he doesn't know. He knows I'm bulky. He doesn't know how bulky. So I was like, he's either 100% scarfed, or he could be ground resist berry that I'm blanking. Shuka. He could be Shuka berry potentially. I double checked the game recap on the side about 4 times to make sure I didn't see it's floating in the air with a balloon. And so I was doing some calcs, and these are the first calcs I did with Heatran all week, and I was like, oh, I don't really switch into this thing very well. And I was like, well, if it's timid, then Flash Cannon is a roll to kill me. So I'll just stay in and click Earthquake. I don't really have a good switch into this thing otherwise. And he stays in, he goes for the Flash Cannon, and he kills me. At this point, I don't know what his set is, because timid without a boosting item, it was a roll. I think it was about 50-50 to kill me. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what to do here. So I decide I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go out into Grimmsnarl. My thought process is I'll get screens up. I can live 2. I can live 1 comfortably, and then I can parting shot out, and we can see what I do from there. So he switches out, which was a surprise, but it makes a lot of sense because he got his drought off. I go for light screen. That seemed like the most simple play to make here. And here I'm just gonna go ahead. I'm gonna parting shot out, lower whatever this thing wants to go to, and I'm like, I could just go ahead and go into Nidoqueen. I didn't want to go Altaria. My Altaria set is a Dragon Dance set, because the way I looked at it was, if I can get a screen up and then parting shot out, that's a very, very safe switch. The thing that worried me was if this thing had Will-O-Wisp, it definitely could have gone for Will-O-Wisp that turn on the Grimmsnarl, try to weaken it, whittle it down over time. He doesn't know what set my Grimmsnarl is. It could have been like a bulky, like a bulk up set with leftovers. And if that was the set, then a Will-O-Wisp on that would be really, really good for him. So I decide I'm going to go ahead and go out and do Nidoqueen, as he gets up Stealth Rocks, which were really annoying. I didn't bring any removal this week, so that's really annoying. And if you watch my draft recap, you can tell removal isn't really one of my team's strong suits. So here I'm just like I'm looking at calcs against this Torkoal. I am a Scarf Nidoqueen. I didn't think he'd want to leave this in, and Earth Power doesn't KO. But Sludge Wave is a 2-hit KO on this thing. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and go for Sludge Wave. Earth Power doesn't get me the KO. That won't reveal that I'm Scarfed. And I don't think he's going to want to stay in and take big damage from an Earth Power. And he's definitely not, definitely don't think he's going to go Heatran. So I'm going to go for a Sludge Wave here. And it pays off. He goes Zarude. This isn't a roll. This 94%. At the time, I thought maybe it might be a roll. It was not a roll. The most I could do against his set was 99.1%, which is kind of annoying. And so here I thought for a minute too. I was like, well, the Zarude that really scared me the most was Scarf Zarude. And so at the end of the day, I decide, you know what, I'm just going to click Sludge Wave again. If he's Scarf, he's Scarf. Knockoff would be kind of annoying, because I do think Scarf Nidoqueen looks really good in this matchup. But if I stay in, the downside is I reveal that I'm Scarf if he's not Scarf. So I stay in. I decide to stay in and go for Sludge Wave. We reveal that we're Scarf. He is not Scarf. And the Zarude goes down. Predictably, the Heatran comes in. Here, I'm definitely in a bind. I'm like, I don't really know what to go into. So I decide, you know what? The Pokemon Doxbun is here for is the Gouging Fire. It didn't even come. So I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and go into Doxbun. Let it go for its Flash Cannon. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. I'll eat some damage. It's not a big deal. And it did a little bit less than I was expecting. Oh, a little bit more. Sorry. It did a little bit more. This revealed to me that the Heatran was modest, which is really important because I'm like, okay, Nidoqueen was EV'd to outspeed modest Scarf Heatran. That's the fastest thing on his team that I can outspeed. When I saw that, I was like, well, Doxbun, you should live a hit. You're gonna get some damage off with Earth with Stomping Tantrum here. That's fine. Good job, buddy. You deserve a good rest. The Pokemon you came for didn't come, so go ahead and take a nap, buddy. I go for Stomping Tantrum, and he switches out into Venusaur, which I thought was a little bit surprising. He probably did the calcs and saw that he didn't kill. He wasn't sure if he could live the Stomping Tantrum, maybe. According to my calcs, he did, but it's fine. We get a little bit of damage on the Venusaur. The damage is kind of negligible. So this turn, I was thinking about what to do. I look at my team. I don't really have the best switch into a Sludge Bomb, even with the light screen up. So I decide I'm just going to stay in. I think I go for a Wish here, as he goes for the Giga Drain. So I was like, okay, this is fine. Giga Drain's not going to do too much to me, and I can get a Wish up. And he reveals that he is the Life Orb set, which I was like, okay, that's fine. No big deal. So I get the Wish up, and I decide here I'm going to go ahead. If he's going to go for Giga Drain, that is 100% fine with me. But he switches out into Arboliva. That kind of surprised me, as I decide to go into the Grimmsnarl as my light screens are wearing down. So this is my last turn of light screen. I was like, I'm going to pass a Wish into my Grimmsnarl. Get a pretty easy switch. If he goes for Giga Drain, that's fine. I heal that damage back up. And now my Grimmsnarl is in against an Arboliva with no damage on, which is really nice. I go ahead, go for a light screen again. As he goes for Alluring Voice, that did a lot more damage than I was expecting. So at this point, I was working on the assumption that this was like a bulky offensive set, which is good. Arboliva is strong. It's like base 120, special attack 120, 125. It's a lot stronger than you think. So here I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna Parting Shot out. I was doing the calcs, and I'm like, there's no Sun. Maybe Iron Valiant can just kind of come in and click Calm Mind here. So I come in. The speed here is fast enough to outspeed a modest Venusaur in the Sun. That's the, again, fastest thing I can outspeed. He goes for Alluring Voice again, and it does a lot. Like, it does a lot more than I was expecting again. Again, making me think this thing is definitely bulky offensive. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go for a Calm Mind. If he goes for Strength Sap, that's fine. That's not a big deal because, again, I'm special. So I go for a Calm Mind here. And here I get a little bit greedy. Aura Sphere was a roll to KO here. But I was like, I decided to get greedy and go for a second Calm Mind instead of the damage. And I pay for it as he goes for the Clear Smog. And he resets our stat boost, which is annoying. So here I have another idea. I'm like, okay, I'm content clicking Calm Mind while my screen is up to run out his turns of Sun. So I click Calm Mind again on this turn as he goes into the Venusaur. And so here is another big turn. I decide to go ahead and click Psychic. This is a roll that I live 94% of the time at +1 special defense with the light screen up. He goes for Sludge Bomb. I live it 94% of the time. It's a 6% chance to kill me. And Psychic kills this. This thing is a demon and it's gone. I think it's worth it. So I decide to go ahead and stay, and he gets the Sludge Bomb off, and we live on 2%. I think that's the second or third highest roll he could have gotten. We get poisoned, which is really unfortunate because if we don't get that poison, I think we could have just won here. Which is unfortunate. So it's unfortunate, but we go for the Psychic. We knock out this demon, and we unfortunately go down. I go ahead and go out into the Doxbin. While he goes out, I was expecting him to go into the Heatran, but he goes out into the Arboliva, which is 100% fine. I go ahead. I think I go for a Wish on this turn. Yep, I go for a Wish. And I decide I'm going to go out into the Grimmsnarl. As he goes for the Flash Cannon. We get healed back up a little bit. And here, my light screen runs out. It's a perfect opportunity. I can get my light screen up again. He goes for the Flash Cannon. Does about the same amount of damage. We are 100% confirmed that this thing is Modest Scarf. So this is the time. I'm like, okay, we just got my screens up. I can Parting Shot out right into my Altaria, get a very, very safe switch into my Pillow. We take rocks damage, Cloud 9, so we get the Sun boosts, they all go away. And here I click Dragon Dance. Goes into the Arboliva. I would love to have gotten a second Dragon Dance off, but unfortunately, I couldn't risk this thing having Strength Sap. Strength Sap is such an annoying move. So, and I know that a Brave Bird when I Mega kills, so that's exactly what happens. I Mega, I go for the Brave Bird, we knock this demon out, and Seed Sower unfortunately stops the Altaria sweep. But it's okay because now he has no switch into Nidoqueen Earth Power. I click Earthquake, he barely lives. Even with the grassy terrain up, that was a roll that was in our favor to KO. But he goes for the Eruption, which does 0 damage, literally. And so I go ahead, I go for another Earthquake here. And here, this section, I kind of draw out. I was really trying to get the Altaria sweep. I go for another Earthquake as he goes for the Lava Plume, trying to snag a burn. He doesn't get it. I go for another Earthquake here. I'm thinking maybe I can just knock this thing out. And then he Clear Smogs and he gets rid of my boosts. And now I'm no longer faster than the Heatran. I think I go for another Dragon Dance here as he goes for another Clear Smog. Here I go for a Roost, I believe. Just trying to stay alive. I'm really trying to get the Mega Altaria sweep. That's what I really wanted from this game. It's kind of unlucky for him that he didn't get a burn on those Lava Plumes. I think eventually here, he just keeps going for Clear Smog. I think I just go for the Earthquake. We don't get the kill even after the terrain goes down at neutral. Here, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go for the Brave Bird, hopefully kill myself, and I don't. But it's fine, because the game's not in doubt. We know that our Nidoqueen is faster than this Heatran, because it's Modest Scarf, and we are timid. So with an Earth Power, we get the KO, and that is... Oh, that is GG to Tyger. And thank you for playing. It was a nice, clean 3-0 victory. Things went about like we expected. We were really hoping get those screens up, get a parting shot, get into one of the sweepers, and just clean up, do some work. And that's exactly what happened. Everything went according to plan. Really, really happy with how the team played. Really happy with how this team feels. There's been so many times where I thought I had a good team after a draft, and then I start playing with it, and I'm just like, wow, this doesn't feel good this doesn't feel good to play. But this team felt great to play. So, that's like I said, that's a clean 3-0 win. That is a GG's to Tyger. And we have an interview that me and Tyger did right after the game. This is post-com, as you can tell by the different shirt and different hat that I have. I think I have the same hat on. But anyway, different shirt that I have on from the interview. And we will catch you guys in a few with the interview with Tyger. 1 second. All right, guys, what is going on? It is Big L, and if you're watching this, it is after the game that me and Tyger just played. And we're here with the coach himself, Tyger. So I want to say hello.
That's me. That's my first name.
So I've got his team on the screen in front of us right now. So the first thing that popped out, we talked about this a little bit to me, was no gouging fire, which is I was very happy to see.
Yeah. I will say, for one, I've never drafted Sun, and I've also never drafted Gouging Fire. I do know that he can get like defense boosts and stuff with photosynthesis, and I think I need to trust the process with that more, just because he's so naturally bulky. Like his PST is
Yeah.
so high.
Oh, it's crazy. I think
So
T4U used it a couple seasons ago, and he really liked it.
yeah, I
But
know. I don't know if you know Jarvis Orator, but he also has used it to great success. So I need to trust the process for
yeah,
sure.
it's one of those mons that the base stat total just goes fucking crazy on it. But one thing that also really surprised me is I did zero prep for Heatran because I thought, oh, it's quad weak to ground, so surely he doesn't bring it against one of the ground coaches. And there it was, and that thing made my life a living hell. Modest Scarf. I figured the set out pretty quickly because I was like, wait, how is he that much damage? He's either Scarf or
Yeah.
Specs. And I was like, oh, he's modest, which was nice, which was good to see because that meant my Scarf Nidoqueen outspent it.
Yeah, it meant a lot of things outside it that I was not prepared for.
Uh,
I did need it to outspeed the Nidoqueen and the +1 Altaria, but I also expected uh not Scarf Nidoqueen, and I thought that Mega Altaria might run Bulk just because Max Spadef Cotton Guard looked really good into me when I was like testing
yeah, they
because you could kind of just sit on
the
everything.
thing
But
the thing that we saw, which like I said, Altaria was the last it was the last mon that I brought.
yeah,
Originally I had uh, Iron Treads because I was like, oh well, Venusaur just kind of goes through me with Sludge Bomb. I
mhm,
need a poison immunity. That's Iron Treads, my only Steel type. But then I was like, aside from that, what is it doing? Like it just
yeah,
loses to everything. Because like if he brings Earth Power or if he brings Weather Ball on Venusaur, it just dies the next turn anyway.
yeah. It
And
also takes like 30 from Giga Drain, I think, or
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
30. So if I click a neutral ground, it's like,
The
damn.
calcs against everything else was just terrible. And then for a
Hmm.
second it was Piloswine because I was like, wow, Piloswine. If I hit Icicle Crash, Piloswine can 1v1 Venusaur.
Yeah, it could 1v1 a lot with thick fat, I
And
believe.
yeah, thick fat with Eviolite, it just kind of 1v1s it.
Hooks.
And then excuse me. Excuse me. And then I was talking to T4U about it, and he was like, "Dude, just bring Altaria, click Dragon Dance, and click Brave Bird."
Yeah,
He's like
yeah.
Cloud Nine. I was like, "Yeah, yeah, didn't think about that. That's
I
fair."
was almost certain that Cloud9 was coming. I figured it would be like early pressure, and that's why I figured you'd be defensive so that you could switch into rocks if they got up, and you just
This, I guess.
click roost, click whatever.
There, I just sent you my paste. I guess I could have done that before now.
Oh yeah, no problem.
But yeah, the first thing I thought whenever I looked at your team, I was like, I want to bring Sandstorm on Garchomp. I was like,
Which was incredible.
Sandstorm Stealth Rocks on Garchomp looked really good on a bulky Garchomp.
Yeah,
And then when you brought in Heatran like immediately after I took out the Whimsicott, I was like, okay, this thing's that screams Scarf, but like I was
yeah,
zero speed, so I was like, I don't know if from the Moonblast damage it would have been possible for you to see, okay, this guy is all bulk and he has no speed, so this thing's I'm probably just faster.
right.
So I was like, and then I saw that like Flash Cannon, I don't think it was a roll since you were modest, but I remember looking at timid calcs thinking, oh, I think this is a roll. Like I was like,
Uh,
and if I get the roll, I just kill this thing. I was like,
it was like a 90% roll, so it still was, but it was like
yeah, I
I
didn't,
was
because
like,
yeah, I
if I
didn't know you
don't
were
get this
modest.
roll,
I
I'll just lose
assumed,
anyway.
but yeah, I didn't know you were modest. Like at that point, I was like, okay, either because you didn't have to be Scarf at that point,
Yeah,
and so I was like, well, what do I do? I guess I just go
yeah,
Grim
I could have been
Snarl.
bluffing it for sure.
Um,
True.
but it's I don't know. Again, that was something. Yeah, the Doxman, like I said, Doxman was just basically here for gouging fire.
Yeah, I knew Darkspawn would probably come just because the fire immunity is good in general
Yeah,
into me.
and I was
But
talking. I think I was talking to Lucky. I think I was talking to Lucky. I was like, "What's funny is like when I make my last pick, because like you and I had talked a little bit about how we were playing week one before the draft was even over.
oh yeah, yeah.
I was like, he's probably gonna think I'm making this pick just to counter his team.
Oh, I fully disregarded that. Like, when I do draft, even if I look at the schedule just to see who I'm playing, I don't really draft into them,
Me
if that
neither.
makes sense.
Me
Like,
neither.
sometimes I'll do trades for them if I really think that I
Unless
can't win otherwise, but
unless I see a glaring weakness, I don't either. But
right.
yeah, the whole reason I
I,
picked Doxbum, which I mean, I dropped the draft analysis video like an hour and a half before we played.
yeah, yeah,
Was I
I
needed the
got to
speed
watch it
tier.
on my way
That was the
from
whole
work.
reason. I needed the speed tier between Garchomp and Altaria. That's the whole reason.
And yeah, it's such a good mon too. I've drafted Darkspawn a few times
I oh
because the wish
I
and the slow dry pass
what did
is
I do?
actually so
Yeah,
nice.
the turn you killed it with the Venusaur. I think I ended up clicking Roar that turn because I was like,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't think he goes for growth here because he's only got one turn of sun after this one. So it's like you're
Right.
gonna go for growth and then use your one turn of sun to kill a Doxbun? Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. I was like, but like I was like, I can't really do anything to it. So I mean, I guess I don't want to switch in. I can't really switch anything in on it. So I was like, I just want to
Right.
click roar and all. But I was like, that's it,
I didn't even kill it.
you didn't?
What did it? No, it stayed alive. It was
Oh,
38% at the end.
or maybe.
It was
Oh, I
something.
think you switched to Arbalova that turn.
Yeah,
Then
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think I clicked wish, and you went to
That
Arbalova. That's right.
yes, that is what happened. Because I went to Avalova expecting you to try to switch to Nido or wish into Nido, and I was super bulky, so I could live and mirror shot you back,
Oh,
which
that's
was
cool.
my option.
That's pretty
Or
cool.
mirror coat rather.
So what? Oh, I need to look at that. What was your Arbalova set? I was really because like I
It
was
was Spadef
full
bulky
Spadef,
AF.
full
Yeah, I
Spadef,
thought
full max.
whatever calc I miscalced, I thought it was like, okay, I think I live this Brave Bird, I can strength step back.
Because yeah, based
But
on your calcs, I was like, I was worried you'd be able to live that Brave Bird. I was like, maybe this is a roll. 'Cause, like,
right.
I was calcing based on your alluring voice damage. I thought you had some offense because that
Yeah,
alluring voice was doing a lot. It was doing a
live
lot of damage
live
through
screen.
screen. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this should not be doing this much damage.
125 base attack is quite insane.
And then so I was running calcs against the Arbalova as max HP, max special attack.
Yeah,
Which that
yeah,
is a
yeah.
good set. That is a good set, which is very normal set. I guess not like it's a crazy set, but I was like, well, if he's zero defense like this, I was like at +1. I knew you had to have a fair amount of defense to live,
Yeah,
and I didn't think you could have that much and have enough to do that much damage. But
with the luring voice.
apparently I'm crazy because you don't have any special attack in it.
This is the week one warm up calcs. This is
Yeah,
we get all the heebie-jeebies out of the way.
dude, I finished prep like 3-4 days ago, and I went
Yeah,
over
I believe I did too.
I went over all my calcs again today just to make sure maybe I'm missing something, maybe I'm not missing something. I took like 30 points of speed out of Nidoqueen. I was like, why am I hitting 399 speed on my Scarf Nidoqueen? I was like, the fastest thing I can outspeed is actually you ended up bringing, which was modest Scarf Heatran.
Right.
I was like,
It's actually insane how important the speed tiers were this time around.
yeah,
I'm definitely taking note of that. Even like with the chlorophyll and the scarf, it's like I need to be careful of the +1s that can outspeed me.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Was like
very
I was
interesting.
sitting there, I was doing calcs, I was racking my brain for like a half hour earlier. Like,
Yeah.
why am I through? Like, why am I this? I'm missing. And like, I was convinced it was a gouging fire calc, but like nothing I was doing was like messing with it like at all. But
uh that
so
checks.
I'm glad I kind of surprised you a little bit though.
Oh yeah, 100%. I still fully expect Life Orb on Middle King and Queen just because Sheer Force Life Orb was so broken.
Oh, it's
But
crazy.
the scarf was quite good to me. So
Yeah, I just and what sucks like against the team you brought is like Earth Power plus Sludge Wave. Like it does kind of go hard, but it's like
yeah,
if I lock into one, it can't really touch the other.
that's true.
Like
But the
that's why like
problem is
I almost
don't.
didn't click Sludge Wave the turn that I took down the Zarude because I was like, well, if he just hard switches into Heatran here, he just gets total momentum.
Mhm.
But I hadn't revealed Scarf, so I was like, maybe he'll think he's faster.
Right,
Um,
right.
and taking out this Zarude will be a huge boon. But, yeah, I'm glad I surprised you a little bit. So
Yeah, yeah. It like 100%. Like the other thing though with you locking into a move, even though it's detrimental the turn after, the problem is I don't have a switch in. I have to get the 50-50 right, which
yeah,
is near
like when you
impossible.
brought the Zarude in, like it was like
Yeah,
you could have very easily
like
been okay
the
if I
Earth
clicked if I clicked for Earth Power there, you're fine.
I take like 30 and then yeah.
But I was like he's not gonna. I was like surely he doesn't let the Torkoal take all the damage, and surely he doesn't go
Right.
into Heatran. I was like, so I just try to get damage off on Arbalova or Zarude,
100%.
But
It was a good call.
yeah, one of those little plays that you got to make sometimes. But all right, cool. But thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it, and best of luck to you for the rest of the season, sir.
Yeah, you too. I hope to see you in playoffs. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, we'll see you guys in week 2, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.